Mic check, 1 2 1 2, and it's like that, and you don't stop. Welcome you guys to the first episode of Jay and Rome Presents Hip Hop Veterans. This show is made by two veterans of the Air Force that has come together to talk hip hop and where it's been, where it's going, where it is right now. But, you know, we want to have some fun with this. Appreciate you guys listening to us on this first episode. Not, without further ado, as I always like to say on 2 Cents, shout out to, my crew with the 2 Cents, Sugar Booger, Deacon Balls, and Roberto. Excuse that burp. I'll have to edit that shit out later. But it's all good. But we in here. I got, to my left, I got Jay Philly right here, man. What's going on?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, and we got special guests in the building, on the couch, lounging like a true player supposed to do. Got my man Troy G-Mo over here, Grimo. He grinding. Yeah. Yes, dig. So, right, we are just about to get into some real hip-hop conversation. And we want to start off with Kanye West's best albums. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kanye just recently said that he's no longer doing secular music, and he has a Christian, I don't know if you want to call it a Christian album, but he has a gospel album out entitled Jesus is King. So, Jay, what do you think about Jesus is King?
Let me start off by saying I'm probably one of the best, or not best, but the biggest Kanye West fan, like you know.
Yep.
Right. So, going from the beginning to where he's at now, I can see it. Because, one of his main singles was Jesus Walks, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a full circle type of thing to where now he's just doing gospel music. So I can see it. I dig it. It's short.
Very short. That album ain't number 5 minutes long. He got 10 commercials.
Right.
For a record.
Right. But I've also seen a lot of YouTube videos and stuff of like people listening to and reacting to the album. And I see a lot, like, it's kind of like a different vibe, man. Like, I see more younger people vibing to his music with their parents, which is kind of a cool idea, Yeah, my mom ain't gonna listen to it, though. I think I talked to my brother, and she's like, I'm not gonna listen to it. I guess it's like she's not ready for that. My mom comes from a different time frame of being a Christian, a Christian Baptist woman. So I imagine women like herself and people from her era won't listen to Kanye West. But I mean, whatever followers you can get. I mean, a lot of people didn't listen to Kirk Franklin when he first came out, so right.
You can look at it like that. But I mean, from what I heard, it sounds pretty good, man. I've always been a big Kanye West supporter. I haven't bought a Kanye West album since graduation, though. I will say that, because I got Apple Music and people burn your CDs and stuff like that. So
right.
That's pretty much why that hasn't happened. But now I can say that, anything he comes out with, I always support, like, the change. But it's just a different feel from, like, those first 3 albums, just the way, like, the samples are being cut. And maybe it's for the better, though. You know what I'm saying? Evolution is inevitable. Mm-hmm. We discussed that earlier when we was at the bar talking about, people trying to do the same shit, doing the same lane that they were doing when they first came in. You're not able to talk about the same shit because you ain't the same person.
Right. No, I can take it back in the day, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when he came out, you could tell, like, the talent level was above everybody else. But also, he had his own lane.
Right.
So, like, his, not demeanor, but, like, the way he presented himself was away from, like, the thug, like, guns, drugs type of music.
Polo.
The polo.
Backpack music.
Right. So, I remember when I met my wife, and she met me, like, and I went out with her a couple times to the clubs and stuff. She thought I was dressing like Mr. Rogers, right? But that was like the Kanye West vibe, right?
Yeah.
Which was way away from like the jerseys, the fits and stuff like that. So I could see him always being kind of a trend setter,
Yeah, he always was. I think he was always a trendsetter when it came to fashion, for sure. And even in the art of musicianship and especially sampling. Again, he changed the game, the way that hip hop was being sampled. Sped up samples were heavily used. Not to say that Just Blaze didn't have a sped up sample either, because what he did for They Don't Know for Jay-Z, but that's a sped up sample. He's got a few of them that that he's done, but Kanye was definitely one of the individuals in music at the time, especially in production, that got so much so much praise for how he used the sampling, and I which brings us to the issue at hand. Kanye West's best albums. I want to know, what do you feel like is Kanye West's best albums? Maybe like in chronological order, if you can, or ranking, or however you want to do it. Because you've been a fan like just as much as I've been a fan. Looking at the albums, what would you say from top to bottom? His best to his least best. I'm not, because I don't look at Kanye West as having like a worst album. So,
right.
What would be the least best?
I don't know, I'll probably say because just when they dropped, it was like different time frames of me being active duty military. Yeah. So college dropout, first time being away from my family. That was like something, like I was used to like Southern hip hop and rap like that, you know. So when I heard, like I picked up Kanye West, I didn't even know who he was, to be honest, man. I knew Jay-Z, Nas, the big New York names and stuff like that. But like going to, I remember it was, I don't even think it was the BX, man. I think it was like the bookstore off of the BX in Turkey. Yeah. And I saw the album cover, like the dude with the bear, you know. I'm like, man, let me check this out. Rockefeller, that's probably dope, you know. And I listened to it, and I'm like, oh my, you know, this dude is like from top to bottom, game changer, right? Yeah. So classic album, you got to go with this first one, College Dropout.
First album you got is College Dropout. Okay. And well, I guess I'll find out, what's your least favorite?
Favorite? I would say probably the one before Jesus is King. Yeah. 7 songs. He talking about, make no mistakes, girls. Right.
It
was like just all over the place. It wasn't like really an album. It was more like it just, let me get 7 songs out.
The album was 5 minutes long. Right. Like I said, he's putting out commercials these days. Yeah. Kanye West, he put out a gospel commercial with the with the Jesus is King album. Right. It was only 10 minutes long, and then he puts out. He put that one out, and before that he put the Ye album out.
But I would say with the Jesus is King concept, like a lot of people will say, hey man, he's just using, you know, the religion aspect to get more fans because he was kind of down and out, you know.
Maybe so. That's when you're supposed to turn to God.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, to me, I'm like, man, it's kind of dope because I can listen to it with my kids. You know, I'm driving with my kids listening to these songs, and it's like nothing is like bad about any of the songs, you know. There's no sex, drugs, any of that stuff. Like, you know, my daughter is 4 and she's singing, "You're my Chick-fil-A," you know, and I'm like, man, that's it's pretty dope. You know, it's corny, yeah, but I'm getting older and I don't want my daughters to be out shaking it and getting out in the clubs and stuff like that.
I hate to tell you this, but
it's gonna happen.
It is going to happen.
Right, and I think that's where Kanye West is at right now. Like, he's got daughters and he knows how he was back in the day, so he's like, man,
yep,
this is gonna go full circle to me, man. Because even Nas came out with that daughter song, you know.
Yep, but look who their mother is. Nothing against Kim,
right?
You know, and it's just a very free running family they got going over there. It's inevitable. I mean, my daughter's 15. I don't even want to think about stuff.
No one wants to think about that, especially as a man, because you know.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know for sure. I started as early as 11 and 12 being corrupted when it came to like when it came to women and shit like that. Right. But I want to get off topic with that. Kanye West best albums, and it goes as follows for me. For Romey-Mak of 2 Cents, and now Jay and Rome presents Hip Hop Veterans, my Kanye West ranking goes as follows. Number 1, I would have to give it to, College Dropout. College Dropout is probably the best to me, just for nostalgia, the fact that I was in basic training when that came out, and get ready to start my life as an Air Force guy. Second, I'm going to go with my beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Third, Late Registration. After Late Registration, then comes Graduation. After Graduation, then comes Yeezus. And then everything else is just, I would put everything else in a tie. The Life of Pablo, Ye, and Jesus is King. They all fall. Oh, I forgot 808s and Heartbreak. So 808s and Heartbreaks goes after Yeezus. Or no, before Yeezus. So here we go. Romey-Mak's ranking of Kanye West goes College Dropout, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Late Registration, Graduation, 808s and Heartbreaks, Yeezus, Life of Pablo, Ye, and Ye or Ye, whatever the hell he's trying to spell in that shit. And then Jesus is King. That's what I got. Yeah. So what was your official category for the?
So I think it pretty much goes in order, man. His first 4, classic. After that, 808 and Heartbreaks was like.
Yeah, 808 and Heartbreak is 4.
That's 4.
Yeah.
So the first 3.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Well, no, 4, right? Because you went College Dropout,
Late Registration, Graduation, and then 808 and Heartbreak.
No, the Dark Twisted Fantasy.
No. That was 2010.
Okay, so after 808s.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so scratch 808s, Dark Twisted, then 808s, then the rest, man. Like we're kind of like I think he was probably just added. I don't know. Like it wasn't to me. It wasn't Kanye, man. After that.
Yeah, I
It was
don't
more like
feel
the-
like.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like he makes different show. He shows up once in a while. Like he'll have 1 or 2 tracks on an album, like those albums that'll have you thinking, "Oh man, yeah, it's coming back," right? And then it turns into, I really wasn't feeling, I really wasn't feeling that track. You know what I'm saying? And like for me, like feeling that whole album, I'm not able to play Life of Pablo in entirety. I'm not able to play Ye in entirety. And that album is only 8 minutes long. And then Jesus is King. Like I can respect where he's moving with it. I thought that Jesus is King was going to be like the Sunday services song, like with the choirs singing stuff that, we've heard. And then it's like the gospel version of that, like how they did However Do You Want Me, my soul, Soul to Soul, Back to Life. That was nasty. I like how they did that. I thought that was going to be the album like such, but I mean it's still a decent album to me. But yeah, I'm sure Ye would appreciate us talking about his albums. He'd be very arrogant. They were just laughing at him because he said he was running for office in 2024. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I don't know what y'all think is funny. And he's thinking about changing his name legally to some long shit or something like that. Yeah, man, we know he's talking about music. Kanye plays a big part of our adulthood, but we want to talk about music going into like childhood, like growing up. Like before we even aired the show, we were just talking about the different producers, like with Timbaland and Pharrell, just growing up with that music. That Tim and Bob even. Right. From the Air Force times. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you got like a couple years on me, but for the most part, our ear, we have roughly the same ear for music when it comes to that. So I wanted to look back to like when I first started. Like I'm trying to remember my first rap record that I probably remember hearing. It probably was MC Hammer, You Can't Touch This, and I was in Cuba as a Navy brat. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I'm just thinking about again, if I had to do top 5 I want artists from top 5 hip hop artists from childhood. Like your all-time 5? My all-time 5. Y'all gonna have to, you have to brace yourselves for what you're about to hear, and because you gotta understand, I grew up in a house that really wasn't allowed to play much hip hop with cussing in it. Right, and I started off. I'll take my premise. Yeah. Before hip hop, I was more of a alternative. Yeah. Type, like Nirvana. Yeah. And I tried to skate, and I couldn't skate to save my life. And then I started getting into hooping, man. And then my little brother was more into hip hop, and we used to get these cassette VHS tapes, right? Yeah. Like a subscription or whatever, and they would send us stuff. And my brother would get the hip hop stuff, I get the alternative. And it got how can I even try to do anything like hooping? It's not like a rhythm type of thing, Right. And I started more gravitating towards his music because it was Snoop and Dre, and I'm like, man, this stuff is way more better than what I'm listening to, It's a vibe. So that's what I'm saying. So I think probably with your top 5, it's probably a vibe of your life. Yeah. Top 5. All right. If we're going on top 5 artists from childhood on until graduation. My number 1 artist, Will Smith. Will Smith is the only one that I could play in the house. No problem. 2 would probably be Jay-Z because I just identified the most with him. Next would be Will Smith, Jay-Z, DMX. Who else did I listen to a lot? This is your top 5? Yeah, this is top 5 from childhood. Jay-Z, DMX, Will Smith. And we gotta go back to when I was a toddler and shit. Toddler in Cuba. So, yeah, it would be Will Smith. Yeah, it has to be, Will Smith, Jay-Z, DMX, MC Hammer. Be the last one, man. I don't know. I'm trying to think who would that last spot be, just based off of childhood alone, like as far as what I was influenced by. I'm not able to call Tim. I wouldn't say Timberlake, because Timberlake didn't rap. Oh, Snoop. Yeah, what am I talking about? Yeah, that was my influence, like, what I listened to growing up. Like,
that's not.
I would be, I say Snoop because I can give the backstory on everybody and why they're being chosen in the top 5. Will Smith was the only one I could play in the house, and I played him a lot between the Fresh Prince days. Home Base with Summertime on it. I played that as a kid. And This Boy Is Smooth and Ring My Bell. All that on that. You saw my blinker, bitch. Yep.
That was the first time he cussed.
Yeah. And then when he came back out as, Will Smith, he started using his real name. And then like Miami, with the Big Willie Style album, like I remember Chasing Forever. Chasing Forever used that Stevie Wonder sample. It was Ribbon in the Sky. They sampled that for that joint. And I fell in love with that album with Chasing Forever, the joint with Camp Lo. What the hell is it called? I know it's like Yes Yes Y'all. That's the name of that. And then Millennium was alright. It was like I got to hear I got to hear Jazzy Jeff do scratches because I always wanted to be a DJ, just like my father did. But I wanted to be like the turntables. I actually fucked up my turntable that my father brought me on my stereo because I wanted to be like Grandmaster Flash and Jam Master Jay when I was a little kid. And like I would take, I took the New Edition record, Cool It Now, or it was either Cool It Now or it was The Boys, Messages from the Boys, and I tried to scratch and mix on that thing, and that was made for playing. It wasn't made to be like doing scratching and mixing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But anyway, Will Smith, that was the only one I could play. That was kind of like my guy. Was like, okay, I can play this stuff while I'm playing like the video game and stuff like that. I mean, I could engage in the hip hop conversations with everybody else what they were able to play at their houses and stuff like that, or in school. But that shit didn't get couldn't get played loud at my house unless my mom, unless it was just me and my dad. My dad would let me, my mom wouldn't. And that I said, Will Smith, of course, Jay-Z, my best friend Takara, she was really big on, still is to this day, really big on Jay-Z, and she was the one that kind of put me on to Jay-Z. Like, I think I remember riding around with her, and she put on Reasonable Doubt, and we would just play that all the time. And then a good friend of mine who passed away a few years ago, rest in peace, Mac, man, you know what I'm saying? I remember riding with Mac when he first got his license. I didn't have my license, and he was playing Volume 1 in my lifetime. And I remember hearing Imaginary Player, and I was hooked. Like I thought this was just one of the dopest samples to flow over. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Angela Winbush. This is a Renee and Angela sample called Imaginary Playmates, and that's what they the sample that was used for that one. And Jay, I just thought, Jay was like the popular guy at the time. It's almost like if you were in high school around 2010, you thought Wayne was the shit. Jay was like, for us, like going in from middle school to the transition into high school, Big Pimpin' had just came out. And then, the H to the Izzo, and then the whole Jay-Z Nas beef, all of that. These are high school memories for me. So Jay was definitely, be like the number 2 spot with that for me. DMX, let me tell you, when I first heard DMX on, I believe it was Money, Power, Respect. That was the first time I heard him. No, take it back. The first time I heard him was on LL Cool J's 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that joint. When I heard him on that, Ski Mask for baby. Yeah, that's the first time I heard DMX. I was just in love with his voice. And then when I saw him on Money, Power, Respect with the Locks and Lil' Kim, I was like, I love this dude, man. And then he came out. I remember hearing the sample for Get At Me, Dog. And I was like, when is this album coming out, man? I got to have it. Like, a lot of people really like Rough Riders Anthem. I hate hearing the original Rough Riders Anthem. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I do not fuck with the original version of the Rough Riders Anthem. Like, if it's playing on the CD, I let it play, and obviously I know the words to it, but the remix blows it out the water. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Starts off with Drag On, who you never heard before. It's coming from the I said Rex Riders, from the Rough Rider crew, and I just fell in love with that first album, man. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Like, DMX was just, I wanted to be DMX. I had a choke chain just like him, because that's how much I love DMX. And what did I say? I said Will, J, DMX. What the fuck did I have fourth? I said Hammer. That's right. I have to give credit to Hammer, because that was the first artist. I think it was the first rap artist I heard when I was a kid. Growing up in Cuba, listening to hip hop that was played at parties and stuff like that. Of course, Can't Touch This, like wearing that the hell out. Then, and that's that's really the reason. I was really big for Hammer, like Too Legit to Quit, all of that. I'm trying to dance like Hammer Pants, all of that shit. And then the last one, Snoop Dogg. Let me tell you why. Snoop Doggy Dogg. If we want to be real, that's when I knew him. That's what name he was using. Snoop Doggy Dogg was, I remember hearing like MTV, whenever they were making an announcement whether he got arrested or was out or something about the album. Like, West Coast rapper Snoop Doggy Dogg did such and such, you know what I'm saying? And Doggy Style, my father let me listen to that at 8 years old. I was young as hell, and I'm outside cursing. I know every lyric to this album. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially It Ain't No Fun. My dad thought it was funny, that song, It Ain't No Fun. Like just the stuff that Nate was saying. He's singing about some foul shit done to women. And looking back in hindsight, I guess you could say that it was misogynistic and all that stuff. But that's what they did. That's how bad the music was back then, And It Ain't No Fun That the Homies Can't have none. That's the song that I wanted to listen to because my dad liked it. I saw how he laughed at it, and I was like, I gotta know every lyric to this. And Corrupt was just vicious on that song. But just like, I knew that album from the beginning to end, and I just loved the way it was, like the soul samples that Dre had used for that album that I know now. But I mean, back as a little kid, I just loved the way it sounded. Snoop was just so cool. You know what I'm saying? It's just a cool cat. And so the reason I choose Snoop at number 5 is because Doggy Style was like that was like probably my first rap album that I was into, that had cursing in it. It was a parental advisory. Mm-hmm. That was the one that I held on to. Like, I wanted to play that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would hear singles and stuff from the Chronic. I listened to nothing but a G Thing or maybe Dre Day, and then Let Me Ride. But other than that, I wasn't able to appreciate the Chronic the way that I do now. But Doggy Style, man, that was my joint. So that's my 5 right there. I done ran through who's in my 5, and I done ran through why they're in the top 5. So We're talking Will Smith, we're talking Jay-Z, DMX, what the hell else did I say? MC Hammer, and Snoop Dogg. Right. Yeah. So I gotta give it to you. I gotta go to you, Jay Philly, man. What's up with your top 5? Top 5 right here. Who you got in your top 5 and why?
Probably the top 5 is gonna go with every key point in your life, pretty much. So when I first went to hip hop, man, and I started listening to, I remember, because it was cussing, man, so anything that cussed, my parents really didn't like. So like 2 Live Crew was like one of the first cassette tapes I had, and I remember having to like go outside in the patio, man, and listen to it, and I chilled underneath the picnic table with a little radio, and I would listen to it, man. I'm like, man, this is so good, but that's like the Miami flavor type thing,
Yeah.
So pretty much Southern rap was like controlled a lot of my life. So Outkast, when I started getting a little older and really liking hip hop and understanding it, was Outkast. Like, the first house party I went to was Outkast. They played it like nonstop, man, on repeat. And I'm like, dude, every song on this album is like just phenomenal, And it was like, once I got into that Outkast vibe, it was like I pretty much spun off of all of Southern rap. So Goody Mob was the shit, man. Who was that peeping in my window?
All right, I'm gonna cut off your list real quick, because are we talking groups or we talking artists?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I gotta think of them as like one entity.
Well, you gonna have. If that was the case, I would have chose Outkast in mine. But we going on artists. Yeah, that's why I chose it the way that I did it.
Right, but I went to me when I first discovered hip hop was a group. I didn't know like a single artist.
Right.
You know, so Two Live Crew I thought was like just I don't know anybody from Two Live Crew. I just know the group.
Oh, you know Luke then. So you figure Luke is one of yours then.
Right.
You got Luke in your top 5. Who would you putting him? Is he one? Or are you just holding them there for right now? I'm just holding them there because that introduced me to like hip hop. All right, cool. We got Luke. Yeah.
Luke's in there. Then I would go with, if I'm taking a person out of Outkast, it's Andre, man. Like Andre.
Now you was praised. You had a lot of praises earlier for Big Boy.
Big Boy consistently keeps going. Like to this day, he's still making albums. So I applaud his effort to still make music because it's hard to try to be like, because you know Outkast. You know what they're capable of doing.
Of course.
And then like to come out by yourself and try to like fit in, but kind of be Outkast. It's hard, man. You know?
Oh yeah.
It's hard because you're gonna always judge Big Boy to Outkast music. You know? And then when they started making their double CDs, you know, and even Andre got kind of like in the singing type thing.
Idlewild, man. Idlewild album is classic to this day.
But they've always been different, man. And to me, when I listen to Big Boy right now, I'm like, I'm a fan. So I just appreciate him coming out with music, you know? But you pointed out, like, he's trying to fit into, like, the new era, which isn't probably where he needs to be, you know?
Yeah, man. It's just the transition. So what we got right now? So we got, Luke, Andre 3000.
Right. Then, I mean, even before Luke, like, I would put Luke and then Crisscross, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's Jermaine Dupri.
Jermaine Dupri.
I guess you.
But I don't know the artist between those two. I couldn't point out either or. Because
it's Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri wrote for them. You know what I'm saying? He wrote that first album.
So I would say Jermaine Dupri was like a big influence.
Right.
Because Crisscross was
two little kids with a float you ain't never heard.
I'm like, man, this is off the chain, dude. So Luke, and then it came Crisscross. And that's when I really got into hip hop. I'm like, man. And then I started listening, of course, Will Smith.
Crisscross talking about, I missed the bus.
I missed the bus.
And that was something that I would never, ever do again.
Right. And these are all on cassettes. I'm like, man, this is like.
Oh, that verse, man.
Right.
It was play. Not I want to say play, but I used to compare him to Kid and Play. But whatever, Chris Kelly, whatever the dark one. He was like, I was up. He was up, but he laid back down. Figured I could chill till the time came around, and he did. He did for a little too long. But when I woke up, the bus was going. Like, it really rapping about missing the damn bus.
But it's relatable when you're in that time frame.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
The bus is my life. Like I'm catching the bus.
Yeah.
To get to school, you know. So I know if I miss the bus,
but that's never everybody. Like for that, even for them being a kid record, Jump had people moving, man. That Jump comes on in the club right now. People will jump to that damn song. Jermaine Dupri, he had one. That's a song that it gets. I mean, don't get me wrong. It gets old. It got old, which is why it was no longer. You know, they kind of faded away or whatever, and they never got a bigger hit than Jump. But it's one of those songs that if you heard it now, you know what I'm saying? You would rock it. Right. So you got Luke, you got Andre 3000, you got Jermaine Dupri right now. Right. So,
but then I would even go before that time frame. So I would go Luke, Crisscross, before Andre.
We ain't even got to your high school years yet.
Right. I'm in like the skate rings, dude. Like I'm skating at Astro Skate, which was in Tarpon Springs, Florida, right?
Right.
So just skating. Boom. Quad City DJs. All that type of music, like, it was kind of like a Miami vibe, but I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the song, man. Think of you. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Which one?
It's Quad City DJs.
Oh, yeah, that goes. Yeah, you talking about Ghost Town DJs.
Right.
Ghost Town DJs, yeah. Quad City DJs is Come On Ride That Train. Ghost Town was...
That was... Come On Ride That Train, like, I'm telling you, they had the... So Astro Skate, right? So once we hit high school, it was like the cool thing to go skate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we would skate, and then they had... After you skated, they had the bass room, right?
Right.
So the bass room was like, you paid an extra $2 to go into this room that was just bass. But they would play that type of music in there, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, man... Girls are out there dancing and stuff, you know, and that's when like you kind of had the courage to go and try to dance with a girl, you know, like back in the day what we were saying. Now I don't see that happening. Like I don't see really a lot of. I don't know. You could probably go out in clubs more than I do down in Miami. Do people dance together nowadays or what?
Yeah, I guess they do. It depends. Like, but they're not dancing to current shit. They dancing to like.
So they still rock with old stuff.
Like, yeah, stuff that we grew up on because it's just made for grinding and shit like that. But like today's music is more like getting the girls together with their hands up, throwing it up like a dude and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like this
right.
and shit.
It's more like
there's no, like I said, there's no, like I told you, that R&B is no longer exists, so you're not gonna have any of that shit. And there's nothing but sex in the music and hip hop. So they infused everything sound like hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a couple of like I think they might dance to some Migos shit, something like that. It's got some ass shaking element to it. So where are we now? We got, like I said, we got Luke, we got Andre 3000, Andre 3000, and then you had Jermaine Dupri, and then
more like the dance music, man. Like,
all right, so we'll just call it that then. So we'll call it Miami bass.
Yeah,
Miami bass.
Huge for me, man.
Miami bass.
Right, and then when I got into high school, I finally
got one spot left.
Right. I would go like that. Really impacted my life at the time was No Limit. So Master P.
Okay then, cool. So there you have it. You got
because I'm telling you, Master P was like, not only was he probably the most consistent label at the time,
right?
Every Tuesday had a new product coming out, right?
Oh yeah.
And he had the new CD case was plastic, right? not the stuff that breaks. But it was like something you couldn't break, and then you would open up the book, man, and you would have so many different artists coming out. So it was like always got you like motivated to hear a new album, you know? Because he's got Cain and Abel coming out, Mystical's coming out, Mia X is coming out, you know? Just non-stop music.
Right.
It just hit you like boom, 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 boom. So you were always like at, I don't know, not Barnes and Noble, but what was like the big music stores back in the day?
Sam Goody,
FYE,
Circuit City.
Right, Circuit City. Like we would go like on Tuesdays, like, man, I gotta get that new No Limit, whatever. You know? It just got you going, man. Like I think he at the time had the best business plan going when I was in high school.
Hell yeah.
You know, for sure.
Alright, so there you have it. Jay Philly got we got Luke, we got Andre 3000. You got Miami bass music, Master P, and
Jermaine Dupri.
Jermaine Dupri. Now, what ranking do you have for all of that?
Well, if I'm going number one, it's always going to be Outkast or Andre. Just because, I mean, even today, I think people are just waiting for an Andre feature or album or something, you know? So I'm going to rank him above all of them. But I'm going to go Andre, Master P, Jermaine, Miami bass. And then, what was the first one?
Luke. Yeah, Luke. All right, cool. Well, we're gonna move into pretty much our last topic for the pilot episode: the current state of hip hop. You listen to radio? Yeah, I don't really listen to radio.
Not at all,
man. The few times where I'm riding with my best friend, you know, he listens to the radio a lot, and I listen to it. I hear the same style of music. You know what I'm saying? Like I can have respect for like the Baby. He caught on to me. He's very catchy. He's funny. He's very witty. You know, not like Ludacris. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't not playful or whatever, but just still very funny with his bar. Like his bars are very funny. You know what I'm saying? Like again, I feel like a lot of people discredited Ludacris because, and that's another one. He probably gets honorable mention in my top 5 because of I was hooked on back for the first time. You lick you to your head to your toes, and then move, bitch, get out the way. These are so like word of mouth and word of mouth and back for the first time was high school. You know, that was my high school years.
And that could probably go into like, because I think probably that time it was like the South was killing it.
Yeah,
like South, T.I.
It was starting up. T.I. wasn't really making noise. T.I. didn't really make noise. Like Ludacris got on before T.I. did.
Before that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think probably Ludacris fits in with like the Southern like movement, man. Because at the time it was like everybody was gravitating towards the South. You had Outkast started making it the way, Goody Mob. Then you had Ludacris coming out, T.I. Who else was popular back then, man? Scrappy, all those guys, man.
It was looking at today's
Roots.
Yeah.
Nappy Roots, another underrated Southern group.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
For sure.
I do remember you used to play that shit. And so did Kroom, because they came from North Carolina, so Kroom used to play them too.
Right. So I would think the state of hip hop is.
How do you feel? How do you feel about it? How do you feel about?
I feel like it's carbon copy, man. Like,
how do you feel about? How do you feel about mumble rapping and stuff?
To me, anybody that can make a song and it's popular and there's a melody and people listen to it is a talent. So I can't knock the person for making the music.
It's good marketing.
It's good marketing. And it's a talent, man, because you can tell me to go in the booth today and I can't mumble rap, you know?
Yep.
So I'm saying there's a lane for it, and there's like a group of people that want to listen to it, right?
Yeah, it's like how we talked about with the McDonald's thing. McDonald's doesn't make the best hamburger, but they're the most popular for the hamburger.
For the hamburger.
Marketing, man.
It's marketing.
Marketing is everything. So, like, mumble rap, I wouldn't dare put that above a Ninth Wonder or a Just Blaze or, you know what I'm saying, any of those.
No.
But their marketing, it works. It's catchy, and it's the sound of today, and that's what people want to hear. Me personally, I don't listen to that style. That style of music doesn't really get me, and for that matter, it takes I would say some of the folks that even like I said, if Big Boy came out with an album tomorrow, would I play it on repeat? Probably not, because I feel like that time, my time with him is past. Like, we've grown up together. It's like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a sense of like an expiration date with some of the people that you've like you outgrow them, in a sense. We can go back and listen to AT Aliens, Aquemini, and all that stuff, and it's like, oh, and remember these good times. But the music, like I said, the music coming out today, I don't share that same affinity. You know what I'm saying? For the music that I once did, and I think it's because I'm getting older, and what do I look like? You know, doing a dance that a 16-year-old is doing at 34. I'm much older. I'm past that point. That's something I do not relate to, and the content, for one. I don't relate to the content, so I'm not able to like then hold on to something. Like, for me, current state of hip hop, seeing like the likes of like these what's these guys like Lil Pump, Lil Uzi Vert, like the Baby, Lil Baby. You know, it's good. I mean, it's good for them. You know what I'm saying, that they're out here doing what they do. And Migos being like right now the premier group in hip hop. I respect. You know what I'm saying? I respect the hustle. I like Offset's flow. I think Takeoff has the best delivery and flow out of that group. Quavo is probably like the mind of the group. I'll say that. When it comes to business of the group, I think Quavo is probably like the mind. You know, the mind for them. And just that the current state of hip hop does not. I'm not able to rock with it now. Like you said, A Boogie with the hoodie, like you were telling me, like like nephew likes to listen to, but I mean that's their sound, man. That's what they like to hear. I just don't like the fact that we're calling people rappers that are singing on a record. You know what I'm saying? And then again, they say like again, we'll go back to what I was talking about on one of my old, one of the previous episodes on 2 Cents with Deacon Balls about Migos and Bone Thugs and Harmony. And saying how, like, we didn't understand what they were saying. Yeah, I don't,
because there's still substance behind Bone Thugs.
Yeah, I still think Lazy, Crazy, Busy, probably all of them, really. I think they could out.
They can out rap. Let me ask you this: them. Like, I can name 2 songs for Bone, like first of the month. Yeah. Crossroad. Like, name me 2 Amigo songs that like fit that kind of narrative or kind of theme behind a song. Crossroads and First and 15 or First of the Month.
Fight Night.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe they got like the same, maybe cadence. Yeah. Maybe that's where they're going with, because you can't understand them.
I don't know if there's anything.
That's kind of like a weird, like a kind of a lazy argument.
They're party rap. It's hard to, like I said, it's hard to compare them.
All right. Let me ask you this. This is where I'm going with, like, the one thing is, if anybody likes hip hop, that grew up in hip hop, and they know how much it meant to them, like, because I think hip hop is like a kind of like a moment in your life, right? Yeah. So like wherever you're at in your life, you kind of fit into whatever is going on hip hop wise, right? Right. And it's like when you hear the old school rap, because you grew up in that type of era, it gets you like a feeling, like an emotion, brings you back to like earlier times, you know?
You're right.
You reminisce, right? So what I'm saying is like, I think if you like hip hop, you shouldn't be in a position to criticize like newer hip hop because it evolves, right? So for me, now I'm in a different lane. So now when I'm going to work and I'm listening to the radio, I'm in traffic, right? I'm tired. I just fed my kids, you know, paid bills. I'm going to work and I hear a little pump song, right? So now I'm stressed out, right? It's a different type of mentality. So I'm like, man, this shit is trash, right?
Yeah.
It's trash. But I probably would have listened to a little pump song when I was 20, going to the club. Because I'm drinking, I have no responsibility. I'm kind of like freestyling my life, right? So that would have probably fit my lifestyle back in the day, was like a little pump song.
Yeah.
Because I have no worries. So I feel like that's where it's kind of hard. You can't really criticize the new era of hip hop because you're not in that same era right now. So it's hard to like say, hey, this is trash, just because you're older.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite.
Because I listened to, imagine like when we were back in the day when we were younger, man. There was like soldiers.
Because I got high.
Because I got high. There
Silk
was
the Shocker.
Silk the Shocker.
Need I say more?
Right.
Like Silk the Shocker.
Tootsie Roll. Like that's just a song that just makes you dance.
Oh, it ain't my fault.
Right.
Did I do that? And we got Family Matter to lack of responsibility and accountability with it ain't my fault. And so and put
no
to
lyrics
record.
at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mystical said something. I may not be nothing to you, but I'm gonna shit on this
Shake
label.
that ass.
Yeah.
Watch yourself.
Yeah.
Show me what you're working with. Right? That's not lyrical.
I like my woman fire like Kanye, chocolate and bow-legged when I'm running up behind.
Right. But we
ahead.
expect everybody to be like a Tupac, Jay-Z.
No, I just think people like to talk. I think people like to give a reason to debate shit or try to discredit someone. Because even when we were coming up, they used to try to discredit certain artists that are praised for their works today. I mean, maybe the folks that are in high school right now, they'll say, man, like they didn't have good music like we did when we had Migos. So
right, but you can't tell me back in the day, if you were 20 and Migos came out, you would bump it, man.
I didn't. I was 20 something when I first heard them. Like when I first heard like.
But you're a little
Migos.
older, like mature.
Yeah,
like
I heard Migos, and then that other group. What do they call them? Porter, Travis. Are they called Travis Porter? Or, the ladies. You know you bad. Like I thought they were all the same people. I thought Fight Night was done by Travis Porter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I thought that was the very same group, and then learning that the difference of them, and then Future being out, all these groups sounding like Future. Now we have a particular sound that's out in there. I guess it's called trap. This trap is different from the trap that we had when we were in there for trap music. Like you mentioned earlier, T.I. T.I. is trap music. What else? I got T.I. being trap music. I had Young Jeezy being trap music. Gucci Mane being trap man. That's pretty much that lane that was there. You know what I'm saying?
And look at Gucci, man. Like Gucci compared to T.I. is not even close.
I mean, well,
Gucci
said he was the first one to talk about trap. And
right, but I look at T.I. being 100 times more lyrical than Gucci.
I don't recognize Gucci. Gucci's a brilliant businessman, and I respect him for his hustle.
He's catchy.
But rap-wise, yo.
Right. And at the time when not Jay-Z, but T.I. was like up and coming, man.
Yeah.
He was making like hit after hit albums. Mm-hmm. He was like the Southern Jay-Z. He kind of fit like the same blueprint.
For sure.
You know?
For sure, man. Might have seen me in the street, but shawty, you don't know me.
Yeah.
That's probably like that's probably my favorite T.I. joint. So, that and the one off of King called Bankhead, and that is probably my favorite.
So I would say what we do wrong is like an older generation.
Yeah,
is that we automatically trash things when they come out, right? But we can't use like one little example of hip hop as like the whole.
I'll tell you what.
The whole climate.
I don't like how the powers that be in charge of radio, in charge of.
Because how would you say Migos is trash, right? And like that era of music is trash. When J. Cole came around the same time.
Yeah.
And J. Cole was like he's probably the next.
It's phenomenal.
Artist.
Yeah. My thing is, I think that there should be a balance, and I don't feel like there's a balance in music right now. I feel like it's just music as a whole, not even just hip hop. I feel like we're putting hip hop in everything. Like I said, hip hop is infused in country music now. Where have we come as musicians and music lovers that we have hip hop and country music?
I'll tell you who ruined that whole thing is Nelly.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to cross waters with Tim McGraw and
But that was his, honestly, that was his biggest hit. It's all in my head.
Yeah,
that was his biggest. That dude he made so much money off that song. He was a minority order of the Bobcats.
Yeah,
because of that song. Not Hot in Here, not all the other stuff that brought him up.
No, what about where's Nelly now?
Right, but if he came out tomorrow, no one will listen to him because it's gonna be trash.
It's hard,
right?
I told you, everybody got an expiration date. You gotta know when to hold them, not know when to fold them.
Yeah,
practically. And if you don't, this is what happens.
Well, let me ask you, with the hip hop culture, man, is like when you hear rock and roll, like other genres of music, it's like when an older group comes back out with like a new album, they support it.
Their fans do,
right?
But
like hip hop is like an older school artist.
Hip hop is like high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got only a certain amount of time to come back out. I mean, like I said, Dougie Fresh has been touring, doing the show for the last 30 years. I don't know any more Dougie Fresh songs besides the show. So if he got an hour set, he's performing the show 8 times, as far as I know. He comes out there, and then he does it 5 minutes later after the song goes off. He comes back with because they could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally can get together and have one big ass house party in like an amphitheater or something like that. You get the likes of you get the Dougie Fresh and like Slick Rick, the Get Fresh crew. You get Salt and Pepper. You get Naughty by Nature. You can get one half of Criss Cross. You can get all these folks that were out at the time that didn't really have that much of a catalog, and you have one major guy that has a decent catalog, and you can have a big ass house party and everybody gets paid. You don't have to come out with new records. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear a new I don't want to hear a new DMX album.
No one does. But that's the thing.
Everybody think they do, and then you hear this old ass man that's like damn near 50 rapping in the booth.
Right. And that's the
talking
thing.
About, I'm going to kill you.
Imagine, like, to me, the Mount Rushmore is like Andre, right?
I don't want to hear Master P.
No. But
come out with a new
Andre
album.
3000.
Andre,
if he came out with
the thing is,
people would buy just because they're fans.
Because he's different. That's the thing.
He's different.
He did not stay in one lane, and that was my issue with Big Boy. Now, Big Boy, his other group that he has, the white dude that he works with, I forget the name of it. In the UK, they're probably killing because it's a level of respect, and they don't really, you know what I'm saying, they don't know that, they haven't seen that, like, it's new to them. Like, Big Boy is like new to that thing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But because we're so used to him, we don't respect it. Like, hip hop is a fad over here. It's like you only get so much time at the top, and you have to know. You gotta know when to step out. You gotta know when to move, man. You gotta know when to get into movies. You gotta know when to get into TV shows. And I feel like there was a few of them that left for TV. Well, I mean, the money was a lot bigger. TV and films, the money was a lot greater than what they had from a hip hop standpoint. But it worked out for them well. So anyway, been quiet almost the entire show, but we definitely want to get Grimo and figure out what his thoughts on the current state of hip hop. So if you don't mind, kind sir, please tell us, how do you feel about the current state of hip hop?
Well, let's see. I would say it's a lot easier to rap now than it used to be. You can do a lot of mumbling and jumble, put some words together and just sound great.
That was a shot. That was a shot at y'all mumble rappers, man. Just so y'all know. You're more than welcome to come on the show and debate about this if you do hear this.
Right. I would say
trouble to
that point, growing up, we never, me personally, we never had mumble rappers.
Bone Thugs.
But Bone Thugs wasn't mumble.
Did you understand what they were saying?
No, but
that's a little different.
it was different.
They purposely made it so you couldn't understand what they were saying.
Right.
They wasn't really mumble. Mumble, yeah, man, it's okay. That mumble. They
Right.
actually saying words.
I think mumble equates to like a druggie, man, like an addict type dude, you know? Like they just mumble, like they're on syrup.
I'll
Like,
tell you what, I look forward to having Deacon Balls to come on here and tell you his feelings about this subject, because he is adamant about Bone Thugs and Migos, like,
there's no
you know, the
comparison,
hypocrisy.
man. The Crossroads,
You can
like,
explain
there's
it.
not one song that Migos has ever done that compared to Crossroads or First of the Month or anything, right? What's the song that they had with Biggie? They had a song with Tupac too, right?
Yeah, run with us,
Yeah.
run with us, bop, bop.
Yeah, there's no comparison at all. But let me ask you this: why hip hop? Why is it so important to you?
Why is hip hop important to me? Because, like, and I'll take this from Grandmaster Cat. Hip hop didn't invent anything, but it reinvented everything. And you can take a song, for instance, we went, you know, as we were watching earlier, looking at Kanye's work over the years, man. We go from listening to Shaka Khan's Through the Fire, which was a great record, standalone record on its own. Then for him to use that sample in the way that he did and get people to feel that vibe again, you know, like that's why hip hop is so important to me, because it does create nostalgia, and it can also create like a new sound and introduce a generation of people who weren't even alive when the previous song was on, and give them like somewhat of an appreciation for it. And granted, there's some dummies that be like, oh, you know, Kanye made that song. You know, no, Shaka Khan and her producers had that shit long before then. But I think that's really why hip hop is important to me. I'm gonna pass that back to you, Jay Phyllis.
So for me, like, I feel like hip hop is like the soundtrack to my life. So pretty much every good time of my life equates to like a hip hop song. That's how I look at it. So to me, it's just vibes, man. Like, if I play a certain song, I can go back to like a good time, and that's why I always reminisce and listen to older rap, because it brings me back to a time when I was more at ease. You know, like just having a good time. That's why I was saying like the analogy with me now, present day, listening to newer rap. I'm in traffic going to a job I hate. You know, it's a different vibe. So I can't rock with the new era because it's a new era for them, not me. I'm in the old school mindset because I had all my best memories when I was back in the day.
Yep.
You know,
it seems that way. At least until we're in rolling in millions.
If I'm rolling in millions and I'm not in traffic, I'm not going to a job I hate, my boss getting on my nerves,
I'll play Future's album.
Right. I'm like, I'll listen to anything because I'm like, man, it's a good time for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the rapper nowadays.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
And let me ask you this. Here's another question for both of you guys.
Yeah.
You guys grew up a little more in the technology era, right? So, do you think technology ruined hip-hop for the fact that now you can hide behind technology? So you get to record yourself at your house, right? You don't have to go on stage and get criticized. You don't have to go out on the block and try to rap in front of people. Now you get to sit. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you this, how I feel about that. That's a fucking great question about, you know, technology and hip-hop. I feel like it doesn't allow these kids to work as hard as those before on their craft, and that we live in a very sensitive to criticism society, which will then hinder their ability to deal with adversity, which ultimately, I mean, affects the music. Well, I think that shows in the music that it's not worked on as hard. And it's not to say that these kids don't work as hard, but like, the fact that we have technology enables their music to reach the masses. Now, I'm sure the likes of a Jay-Z, a DMX, a Fat Joe, all those guys, if they had social media, who knows how big they would have been. Like Timbo and Missy, when they dropped Get Your Freak On, if they had Twitter and Instagram when that shit first came out, you forget about it, man. It was just so innovative. It was new. It was a different sound. And And I don't doubt that they'll come back out with something else. I just feel like it's just a different time frame because that trap music shit is where the kids are. That's what they want to hear from right now. At least until they hear something different. We gotta bring a different sound. And it's just like, yo, man, I'm jamming. And when you have that, there'll be a carbon copy of that. Everybody's gonna do every 5 to 6 years. There's a new sound, and then there's carbon copies. You know what I'm saying? We go to the factory. It's like the factory assembly line. Excuse me, with music. Migos come out. A lot of people sound like Migos. Future came out. A lot of people sound like Future. When T.I. started doing trap music and Jeezy started doing trap music, all these artists fell behind them. You know, but no standalone. And that's what I loved about Kanye, because Kanye came and brought a sound that nobody really was using when he first stepped into the game. So that's why he was able to stand out. And the music was good. You know, it's good. You know, it was carefully mixed, edited, and formatted for consumer consumption. Mm-hmm. And who knows where music is gonna go in 10 years, man. Who knows where music's gonna go in 10 months, for that matter.
But see, I think that's touching on the technology part, because with Kanye, he had to like show and prove how much of a talent he was. Like before he got to his first album, that dude would wear a backpack and go into people's studios and try to rap for people and be like, oh no, you're just a producer, you know?
Yep.
Like, stay in your lane. If he had like SoundCloud and all that stuff back in the day, right? He would have been...
No, I pitched it before.
Yeah, he would have been way more like out in the open before he was. Like, but what I'm saying is like, that allowed him to make a better album, you know? Because he had to go and try to rap in front of Jay-Z and, you know? Now, what I'm saying is the validation part with technology is I can make a trash song.
There's no gatekeeper.
There's no gatekeeper, right?
No gatekeeper.
So I can make a trash-ass song and just put it on the internet. 5 or 6 weird-ass kids, I like it. So I'm validated now, right? I'm a hip-hop.
Hey,
right?
Listen, man, music is in the eye of the listener.
It is, but don't you think the validation, not the validation, but the gatekeeper thing is like needed to make good music?
Those who have came on before, passing the torch and all that shit, that's where there needs to be. There are no rules like that in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, the rules and regulations, they used to be in place, but there's no more rules and like checking folks and like whether or not, you know, they were worthy enough to do that. Like, growing up, they used to, if you couldn't get to the tunnel, you really wasn't shit. You know what I'm saying? Or, I don't know, the Mecca and
look at Outkast. Outkast had to get booed on in New York.
Yeah.
You know, when they won hip hop, whatever.
I'm tired of folk talking about, you know, it's like, yeah, like you got a demo tape, don't nobody want to listen to it, but the South got something to say. That's all I got to say about that.
Right.
And since then, it's been like that.
Because no one validated them. No one was like, man.
They felt they needed the validation by New York.
Right.
And
they had to go out there and earn
because now New York wants Atlanta's validation, which is annoying. Yo, for real, you New York artists, get back to making your sound, yo. Get back to making your sound.
I think the best time in hip hop was like when it was more
90s. It was 90s.
90s.
93.
Well, you had distinctive sounds.
93 through 96.
So you had the West Coast, South,
93 through 96.
Texas,
Wu-Tang, Death Row, Bad Boy, and then everybody that was on Loud Records, Onyx, Mobb Deep, like everyone was distinctive with their sound.
Yeah, I think what ruined New York hip hop was, I hate to say it, they were
Diddy.
No, I wouldn't say Diddy because Diddy had his own flair, but I would say like Dipset ruined New York rap because they got really southern, man. Because they started following the Lil Wayne trend, you know. Once that started going, like, I think New York hip hop just suffered, man. Because even when 50 Cent came out, he was still kind of something different, but he was more.
He was more New York. He was gritty.
It was gritty.
And
that's
grimy.
why people liked it, you know, because it's like,
that's why people like Mobb Deep.
Right.
And we'll get to that. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get to some more Mobb Deep a little bit later. But ladies and gentlemen, you know, this concludes the first episode of Jay and Rome presents, the hell do we call ourselves? Hip hop veterans. Shit. Yeah, we'll do that. Let me back that up. I'm gonna do that one more again. The Jay and Rome presents Hip Hop Veterans. This is the first episode. We really hope you guys enjoyed it. Contact information. Jay, go ahead and hit them up with your IG.
Oh yeah, it's on Instagram.
JPhil8080 if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, and then you can follow myself, Romey-Mak, on Instagram at the official Romey-Mak page, as well as 2 Cents the podcast on Instagram. You can also follow the 2 Cents Podcast Central page on Facebook, and Twitter is 2 Cents DA podcast, 2 Cents the podcast. You can follow up there. And if like, honestly, whenever this video posts, if you want to post any questions, any topics, like suggestions for up and coming episodes, feel free to do so. Shoot us, DMs or whatever through social media of ideas that you might even have for the show. If you're an artist too, definitely give us a shout so you can come on here, let this platform be yours. And who knows what can happen with that. But we definitely welcome all comers that would love to be on the show. That's pretty much all I got right now. Jay, you got anything you want to leave with the folks?
Nah. I mean, yeah, you touched on everything, man. Like the whole premise of the show is just to keep the culture going, man. Because we're all a part of it. We all grew up in it. Like I said before, it's a soundtrack pretty much to our life, man. So we all have our different artists and songs and stuff like that. It's basically just a platform to keep it going, man. Like
right.
we like the underground, we like the new school, we like the old school. If it's good, we're rocking with it, man. And this is where we're gonna come together and actually present new artists to people. And we want new artists to come on, DM us. It's basically just like I said, man. Like everyone in this room came together through hip hop. So that's where we're going, man. And it's a good topic, and it's something that we're all passionate about. So
yeah,
I appreciate your time, man.
Of course.
Episode.
My
Hopefully
big bro,
you guys rock with it.
My big
Share
bro right
it.
here. Yeah. So this is Jay and Rome. We out. Peace.